Live stream. Okay, and here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second relevant conversation. And I'm Lori Dubois, along with Patrick Baker, Clarine Mitchell, Katie Brinkley, and Jesse Renfer. We're having a conversation today about social media. Yes, we know social media is rather a large topic. And so we have narrowed this down just a bit to talk about using social media to promote your business. And Patrick and I, this is our second conversation, as I mentioned. The first one was about COVID. So we went from COVID and life to social media. We talk about things that are interesting and people have opinions about. And we know everybody has opinions about both of those things, right? So I'm going to pass it over to Patrick, and he can allow everybody to introduce themselves, and then we will basically dive in. Patrick?
Cool. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. And if you're watching us live, welcome to our Relevant Conversation, episode 2. Our panelists today include folks who work in a variety of roles, both professionally, but also I want to say in terms of how they approach social media from a business perspective. And so we tried to bring in some diverse perspectives. And so without me saying anything more than necessary, let's introduce our panelists. And I'd like to start, please, with Clarine Mitchell, please.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and everyone. Okay. Tell us just a little bit about yourselves and what you do, but also what's your approach to social media from a business perspective in a couple sentences.
Okay, I'm gonna try to remember all of that. You may have to
just go.
So, hello everyone. Thank you, Lori and Patrick, for having me, and it's great to be on the panel with Katie and Jesse. But I'm Clarine Mitchell. I'm the owner of TCM Communications, so founder and CEO of my own business. I'm located in the greater Milwaukee area. My business is focused on changing the trajectory of lives and businesses, one LinkedIn profile at a time. So my business focuses exclusively on LinkedIn coaching and training so that my clients generate results organically from the platform. That's my expertise. My background is in PR and journalism. And so I leverage that experience to help my clients tell their stories on the platform and generate results organically. So let me make sure I got everything. I think your last question, Patrick, to speak to that, it's all about using LinkedIn. And so prioritizing that platform because it is what that platform is for, professional and business purposes, but being able to use it authentically and consistently to be able to generate the results based on best practices. And then I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Clarine. Let's go next to Katie Brinkley.
Well, thank you, Patrick and Lori. Thank you for hosting today's panel. And my name is Katie Brinkley. I am a social media strategist and the founder of Next Step Social Communications, which is a boutique social media agency based out of Denver, Colorado. And what we specialize in is helping entrepreneurs, small business owners, and coaches and consultants develop a social media strategy that they can consistently stick to and have the generate inbound leads week after week with as little as 1 hour a week. So take away the overwhelm and bring the fun social aspect back to social media, kind of what it was originally intended for. So that's what I do in a nutshell. And yeah, thanks again for having me here.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. Next is Jesse Renfer.
Thank you, Patrick and Lori. I appreciate being a part of this panelist with Clarine and Katie. I'm really excited for it. I'm Jesse Renfer. I'm a social media and content creator for small to mid-sized businesses like Bright Star Care of Denver. And mostly the approach is to humanize the brand and humanize the company. So that way you have better connections through social media.
Love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Lori,
Patrick,
please.
Oh, I was just going to say, Patrick, introduce yourself.
Okay, I will, and then you go next. So I'm Patrick Baker, and my business is Prime of Life Tech. and I provide tech support, training, and other services for the older adult community and small businesses. Lori, please.
Sure. I'm Lori Dubois. I own a company called Marketing Troubadour. I am a marketing and branding consultant based out of Denver, Colorado, and I work largely in content development, strategy, and email marketing. And I was happy to hear Jesse say, although I know everybody here believes the same thing, that it's about humanizing business. And I'm very big into storytelling and sharing story, because I think that's what we're hardwired to do. So that is who we are. We're going to have a conversation now, and this is going to be largely organic. We're going to flow where we need to, and we've given some questions to our panelists, and we could probably talk for hours, but we're going to try and contain this to under an hour and get some different opinions, because that's one of the things that Patrick and I, our goal in doing relevant conversation is to invite people that are intelligent and articulate and have opinions. So I wouldn't say opinionated people, because sometimes that sounds bad, but opinionated people are just people who have opinions, and we know we all do, and we want to share those and approach you all. Thanks for being here. So I'm just going to kind of kick us off by saying, you know, there's no question social media is used in business, regardless of how it started. Social media kind of started as a business. Now, then the question became, can you use it in your business, and can you use it for your business? And I think we're committed, right? We're past that thing of really, should we use it or can we use it for our business, because people are doing it successfully and unsuccessfully every single day. So I think, you know, there's no turning back, and business is really firmly entrenched in social media. I think there's just a lot of questions that business owners have and people within business. Clarine, did you?
Yeah. Before we get too far from
Yeah.
that point of like, we're to the phase of knowing the value of social media for business purposes. We're not all there. Like, there's far
Good
too
point.
many who really are missing out, especially in my target population. Majority of my clients are entrepreneurs, and then executives too, but entrepreneurs, far too many. And I hear it day after day still, where in reference to LinkedIn, many still have the mindset, oh, that's just for job seekers. It's not for business owners. So I still have to fight against that, get them to the understanding, oh no, the platform has evolved. It is so much more than just being a job seeker platform. So everyone isn't to that point just yet, but every day I'm working.
Well taken. Yeah, that is well taken. And I'm glad you brought that up, because maybe it's more appropriate to say there are many businesses using it. Not all businesses either know that they can or they should. And I think those are two of the questions
Right.
that can be different, right? So what I wanted to ask you guys first is, and you can each, you know, take your turn to answer this, but, you know, maybe a good starting point is to figure out, what do you think are the one or two main advantages of a business using social media? And you can talk social media broadly, or you can talk about a platform specifically. And so that's part one. And then part two is, this might be a good opportunity when you're answering this to talk about what platform might be your preferred platform, either that you just like or that you work in. Because I can see Clarine's got her little LinkedIn logo sitting right next to her.
And I want to know the story of The Crown as well. So anyway, sorry to interrupt.
So for me, of course, like, yes, that's what my business is, exclusively on LinkedIn. So I'm gonna be a broken record with that. But to answer your question, Lori, like, we're on these every day, all day, right? To one extent or another, smart devices, that's what this is. We're on these now, and to not be on them, to get in front of your potential clients, your ideal clients, you're doing a disservice for your business. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, you're going to be missing opportunities and leaving them up for your competition instead. So it's critical, because our society is digital now. And so if you don't have that digital presence, you're doing a disservice. And it's like when we use these primarily, you can use them for free and get results. So why not? Like many businesses, especially small business owners, may not have large marketing budgets, but if you're using this, is the mental savviness and your time that you're spending, not money.
Okay. You threw down a few gauntlets there that I'm not going to pick up in the moment, but I'm going to go ahead and Jessie was nodding her head. So I'm going to pass this off to Jessie to see her thoughts on this.
I wholeheartedly agree. 100%, 10%. We're constantly on them, and then your clients, your customers are constantly on them as well. I normally deal with Facebook and Instagram, a little bit with LinkedIn, especially with Bright Star Care. And it's where you make network, where you make connections. It's always about who you know, and having social media is just an area to be able to do the same thing with, to be able to branch out into different audiences and to target those audiences through your fans and your followers and having them see your content. So I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Katie. And I kind of left Katie for the last, because I know Katie's, and I wouldn't say dabbling, I would say a guru, but Katie's really active in audio social media. So I'm interested to see what you've got to say.
Well, so there's over 3.6 billion people on social media worldwide. So if you are saying that social media won't work for your business, or that your clients or customers aren't on social media, you're just looking in the wrong spots. And I have started with social media back when MySpace was the social media. I started with bands getting their MySpace pages up and getting off of MySpace and onto the radio. And there's been a lot of changes to social media since MySpace came out. Facebook was just for colleges and universities. Everyone thought Twitter was going to be the end of Facebook. And what we've seen evolve is that all of these different social media platforms exist for a reason, because there's different people and different clients and different businesses on each of them. And if you're trying to be on every single social media platform known to mankind, you're one, just going to become white noise, but two, you're going to get extremely burnt out. So I love that you posed the question of which social media platform is your favorite, because all these different platforms exist for a reason. And I do think that you should have a favorite. It's not to say that I'm not on multiple social media platforms, but there's definitely ones that I focus more on for my business, and the ones that I'm focusing in on to gain leads and build networking relationships. So I think that you have to keep that in mind as you're growing your business and as you're evolving your business and using social media as part of your marketing strategy.
So here's where the conversation goes a little organic. Which social media you focus your energy on, wouldn't you say that depends in large part on who your audience is and where they go for their social media, or their social media content, I should say? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And anyone jump in.
I'll just chime in really quick and then pass the mic off. But I think that, for me personally, Instagram and LinkedIn are my two biggest lead generations for my business. And I have very different targeted messages. I'm using the same content, but I'm positioning it differently between the two platforms. Majority of my audience on Instagram is women. 78% of them are women on Instagram. On LinkedIn, I have a strong male following, so I use different colored graphics for it and post the content a little bit differently and word it a little bit differently. So look at who your ideal clients are and focus in on writing the content specifically for them on that platform. If I post something on Instagram, it's not going to perform the same way that it would on Twitter. I mean, that's definitely a spot. It's gotten really big with NFTs, but I mean, there's definitely a spot for news and quick updates. And if you have a ton of information to be giving your target audience, then Twitter is a great spot. So you really need to take a big step back, really evaluate who your ideal clients and customers are, and see what posts do best on each platform. And then you can kind of, I think, go all in on that platform and really knock it out of the park. But I will pass the microphone off to the other panelists here.
Thank you. Yeah, please, anyone.
Okay, they're pausing, so I'm gonna jump.
I just wanted, I didn't want to just jump in. I wanted to let Jesse go and then me, but
No,
That was
that's
the same way.
yeah. I was just going to say, because I work with a lot of people about really defining who their ideal client is very, very narrowly. And so I always say it's not always easy to practice what I preach, but I always tell people you don't choose your social media platform for your business based on the platform you like the best. You choose it based on where those people are. Now, sometimes, you really want something to work. It's like, I really love Instagram. Therefore, I really want my people to be on Instagram. Sometimes those things will overlap or mesh perfectly. Sometimes they don't. So I think there's a big difference between saying, I like this platform more, or my people are here. Those can be two different things. And sometimes that can kind of lead people astray a little bit. So Clarine, Jesse.
And I agree with it. Definitely targeting your audience is dependent on which social media platform that you use. We use Facebook and Instagram a lot for recruitment efforts, trying to find employees because they're typically in that 18 to 65 range. And then those who are over in the 55 and up range, we typically broadcast services towards in Facebook. So definitely agree with broadcasting yourself in that and taking a really dig deep on what your values are, what you're trying to produce with that.
And I would just add that in addition to being on a platform where your ideal clients are, also making sure you're putting your time and your effort where they're not just on, but they're on with the right mindset, right? So my clients could be on Facebook, but they're on with a different mindset on Facebook, right? When I go on Facebook, and I don't use it consistently, but let's say hypothetically, I may be on Facebook or whatever other platform where it's more about fun or it's more about, something other than my business. But when I'm on LinkedIn or my ideal clients are on LinkedIn, they're more apt to receive my content because they're in a business mindset, right? My messages resonate with them more so because they're with that mindset as opposed to otherwise on other platforms. So it's a combination of, yes, where are my ideal clients, but then also where are my ideal clients with the right mindset so they can receive my messaging and become clients.
Okay, Clarine just segued us exactly where I wanted to go next, and she didn't even know it.
And we didn't even practice that,
So
Lori.
thank you very much. But I wanted to ask you guys now, you people, ladies and gentlemen, what your thoughts are about combining personal and business content. When we're talking about your content, because Clarine just brought up, somebody might be as a consumer, not as the generator of the content, but the consumer of the content, they might be thinking differently or behaving differently if they're on LinkedIn versus if they're on Facebook, just those for example. But I usually encourage people, even if they're business people, to put some of themselves into their business, thinking that people probably want to know who they are. So what are your thoughts about combining some of your personal life into your business content? Because I'm guessing you guys all have some good opinions about this.
I definitely encourage it. Of course, there's a fine line of what you do and you do not share, but I think it, like, again, with my previous point of humanizing your brand is showing your likes, your dislikes with just a simple, oh, what kind of coffee do you guys like? And having that interaction, encouraging your community engagement. So I strongly believe that you should have some sort of personality online. You can't just keep preaching what your business does without having that human entity attached to it.
That is another question for me. And please don't forget Lori's question, but how much of you do you put into your content on a regular basis? When I say that, I mean images of yourself, video, how many times a week, just approximately. So
for me and Lori and Patrick, you're used to my content, so it's all the time, pretty much every day, whether it's videos or photos or stories, it's all the time. And going back to what Jesse said about the humanizing, especially on LinkedIn, it's a social selling platform. It's not direct selling. And it's all about that know, like, and trust factor in building that and allowing people to get to know you. And getting to know you is what allows them to then be interested in doing business with you, where they pursue us versus we pursue them because they, that content resonates. If I could share, just to go back to Lori's initial question, so about personal, whether we blend that in or not. So one of my clients, she made a post last week. It was on last Thursday, actually. It was a personal post. It would have been the 10th anniversary for her and her husband, but he died about 5 years ago. Her analytics from that post, I told her I was jealous because her post was more than what I get on a normal basis. At the latest that she showed me, like right away, it just caught fire. And it was a personal post, caught fire. 8,891 profile views. The post views, 786,000.
Wow.
Oh, 786 and 900 post views. I have evidence, screenshot. 213 search appearances, but so she was sharing her personal story, and yes, her network wanted to hear and took it of value. The comments, this was last Thursday, she's still receiving comments. She's still receiving direct messages. She was flooded with new connection invites, new followers, new business opportunities, right? So yes, you can be personal. I often say, and I guess it's kind of like a signature statement, it's not what you say on LinkedIn, it's how you say it that matters, right? Where pretty much you can, not any and everything, but you can say personal, have personal content, is how you say it and put it in the context of the professional business world.
Katie.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. People want to do business with people. And when you hide behind a logo, that's not, unless you're Nike or Apple, people want to do business with people. And the majority of businesses, especially entrepreneurs, small businesses, when you have a face to associate with that brand, that's stronger than any logo. And I feel like that's against what every graphic and branding strategist wants to hear, but really it's not to say that you shouldn't have that stuff. It's just when your business is getting started, as your business grows, you need to show up and give somebody a face to do business with. And in an online world, and when we saw, April of 2020 happened, people were struggling with what to do, what to post, because they hadn't thought about this sort of strategy. And personal brands are just as important, and showing up as your business and your brand online is essential as you get your business off the ground and started on social media. And, as Clarine just shared, when you give a voice and a story, and Lori, like, you're a storyteller, but that's what people want to do. They want to connect with you. And when they connect with you and they feel like they're doing business with a friend, you're going to get a lot more referrals and a lot more business.
Yep.
I love
Amen.
doing business
Amen.
as a friend. Doing
Go
business
back.
as a friend is a great tagline.
That's true. That's true. I had a sales coach one time in passing when she was talking to me. She was my sales coach, and she said something about, well, after all, your clients aren't your friends. And I immediately thought, oh man, I'm like really doing something wrong, because a lot of my clients become my friends, and maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And then I thought later, no, that's the way I operate. And it's like I always think people can take you or leave you, right? If you're not for them, that's fine, Patrick, you're muted, but what do you think about this?
I think I agree with all the statements that everyone has said so far. I have, this probably says more, this probably is a deeper dive into my head than you want to go, but I've struggled personally with how much to present myself, mostly just due to I don't know what you want to call it, stage fright, camera shyness, whatever. And so it, like, the first time I did a live video, like right now we're live and I'm like not even thinking about it. But the first time I did a live video, it was a really big deal for me. And even just the self-talk leading up to that. And I'm not talking about like in hours or minutes, I'm talking months
Well,
of
Patrick, it's
of
because you
that.
didn't grow
Yeah.
up with a phone in your face.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
let's be
And-
real. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not all of us are used to narrating every moment of our life. And this is
Right.
what I'm eating. And now I'm walking to my car. I'm done with work. I mean, like that sort of mindset
Right.
is a huge shift. And I like my 7-year-old daughter, I told her, hey, we're going to do a video for Facebook to sell your Girl Scout cookies. And she was like, all right. I mean, like that was the prep she needed and she killed it. And whereas I would have been like,
I saw
okay,
that. I
so
saw
what am I
that. She did.
well, I would have been like, what am I going to say? What are the 3 talking points I want to hit on? And I would have overthought it, where she just went on in and did it. And it's just that different mindset. And I think that you are not alone.
Right.
Majority of people over 30, 35 have that same struggle. And it takes practice to get used to showing up on video.
Yeah, once I just started doing it on the regular, then it just became natural. I mean, it's just like having a conversation to no one in particular, but you're having that conversation. So, anyway, I think I said enough. So.
Can I add before you move on,
Please,
Patrick?
yeah.
So bravo to you for your transparency, for admitting that, because we've all experienced it, right? Even I go live all the time, but I have anxiety with it sometimes as well. But the point I want to make sure we don't forget to encourage others is you just start, you try. It's trial and error. I say when I look at my content from last year, 2 years, 3 years ago, it's different than what I create now because we all evolve, right? We learn more, we get more creative with it. And so, but we have to start. We have to start from somewhere and then just do it and understand it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be flawless. It's not going to maybe be an overnight success, so to speak, but we have to get started. We have to get the process started. So good for you.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And I think that's why, the famous people, right? Or the people that, are famously online all the time, they leave up their old stuff because they know it doesn't look as good as what their stuff looks like now. It's not quite as polished, and they'll make a point of saying, you think I'm looking really good now, or I've got this down, go back and look at what I was doing 3 years ago. It's horrible, but I'm not going to take it down. And I think that's to encourage other people. And I think if we can get out of our own heads and realize, if I go and look at all of your posts or you look at mine, we're just people, and we don't do that to people in person, right? When we meet people in person in a meeting, we don't leave usually, right? And say, wow, I can't believe that person showed up like that today. Wow, I can't believe they did that. Can you believe they looked like this or they wore that shirt? It's like, we just take people as they are. And I think it's the same online when we're consuming. We just don't think that as the presenter, that somehow being recorded, maybe it's because people can keep it and go back to it. I don't know what it is, but it just feels different. So thank you all. I think we're saying you show up, right? Start where you are.
And keep trying.
And not to be a perfectionist with everything. We're all going to make mistakes. And like Clarine said, we all are evolving. And even the social media platforms are always constantly evolving, and what's going and what's trending and everything else also involved. So it's kind of a place where you say practice makes perfect.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna go somewhere that's a little bit more, I don't know, hard edge business wise, I think. And that is, I think that what we're all saying is you would probably be doing a disservice to yourself and your business if you were not utilizing social media in some way. You need to figure out where your audience is, and you just need to show up. So we got all that down. What I want to talk about is the fact that when you're organically posting something, any place, there's only a percentage of people, even your own followers, who are going to see your post, right? And so I want to call on Katie specifically to put you on the spot and to talk a little bit. And then I want both of your other opinions as well. And Patrick, if you've got opinions on this as well, what your expectations should be about organic posting, how many people you think really are going to see your post, and when you should even think about having that conversation about paid traffic.
Yeah, so very excited to hear Clarine and Jesse's responses too, because it's different for every single social media platform. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but as a business, it's not fun to be on Facebook anymore without an ad budget. And it's hard because Facebook is the OG. It's one of the very first social media platforms that businesses started utilizing for their marketing. But Facebook realized that. And so now they've really decreased the amount of views that business pages get, only 1 to 3%. So, you do the math. If you have 1,000 followers, only 1 to 3% are going to see that organically without anyone engaging with it. And if someone starts engaging with it, then it might go up to 5 to 7. So you have to work really hard on Facebook to get that organic reach right now as a business page. I'm not even going to go into Facebook groups because that's another whole topic, but as a business page, Instagram and LinkedIn are two of my favorite spots for growth for organic reach for your business. I think that as a business owner, when you're utilizing the right hashtags and the right engagement strategies, you can still get a ton of views and awareness around your brand when you're utilizing all of the different avenues that they offer. I'll just talk about Instagram because we have Clarine here and she's the LinkedIn expert. But Instagram, there's 5 different ways to post on it. And that's a lot of different posting styles there. And you have to show up all of these different ways to expand your organic reach and your organic growth. So again, that's where I think take a really big audit of who your ideal client and customer is, where you're seeing the most traction, and then go all in on it, because to do it the right way, to get that result, to get that reach, you have to be doing it the right way. And each platform is different. So I'll pass it on over to Clarine because she's right on my screen, and then she can go on over to Jesse.
Thanks, Katie. So I've already admitted, I think, and even what you said, Katie, like Facebook, unless you're paying for ads, and if that's not your expertise as far as Facebook ads, because you really have to be specialized in that, you're wasting money because you're not going to get the reach, the traction. But business page wise, it's like Facebook varies. All right, I keep my business page there just to have it there, but it's not a focus because I know how Facebook works now. Really, for me, and Laura, you kind of passed over it. For me, I go on Facebook for groups because that's where the activity is. The structure of groups is so much more robust on on Facebook, and especially if you're in targeted groups where your ideal clients are. But for me, with LinkedIn, is my specialty and expertise is all about organic reach, and how, especially right now, like now it's super hot time. Like I wish I could just scream it to the top of whatever the mountains for everyone to understand that now is a window of opportunity on LinkedIn. And I don't know how long it's going to be open, but if business owners don't step up and take advantage of all the features that are provided for free, where you can get organic traffic or traction and build your business and expand your business. But my side of it is without pads. Katie was saying, where if you're consistent based on best practices, you can get results from the platform without even buying ads. I've built my business, grown my business, and helped my clients to do that without spending a dime on ads on LinkedIn. I've never spent a dime. Not to say that, or a penny, not to say that ads aren't important. It's just, if you don't have to, why do it? Especially if you're a solopreneur, small business with a small budget. If you're a larger business and you can afford, you have the bandwidth financially, go for it. But if you don't, you don't have to.
Thank you. Thank you. Jesse, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, and I definitely agree that LinkedIn and Instagram, as well as TikTok, are so much easier to have that organic following and organic engagement to it. Versus I use a Facebook mostly for my ads. I do a lot of paid ads and advertisements through that. It's with certain budgets and targeting certain audiences, and throw in a couple of my posts that I usually post on LinkedIn just to have the page be updated. But I definitely agree that to be able to have a small budget, you should be able to think smarter and work smarter than harder, and be able to, like Katie said, there's 5 different ways to post on Instagram, and the stories are the most fun to do. So I think it's definitely something that businesses should take into account, where they're at, what their budget is, if they have any, and what avenues they should really center on.
Great. Patrick?
I don't have opinions about this specific question, but I think it's a good segue into the next question, which is more germane for me. I think is it possible as a solopreneur, as a small business owner, to do the business of running your business and also maintain your presence on social media? Because that's something that I struggle with, is that very thing. I mean, my social media is not my business, but I need it. I know I need it to get business.
For promoting, right?
I think as a business owner, it's definitely a great time to be able to devote your time and tools to be able to produce your own content. It also gives you a better appreciation when you do hand that off to the next person, when you do get bigger, to be able to be like, I have full appreciation and respect of what this person does, because it is a lot. There's a lot of tools out there that help promote you, just like with Hootsuite, sitting down in your time management and just producing your stuff and have it automatic. So that way it's more secondary. So first of the month, being able to book out your content and being able to get that out and not even have to worry about it other than engaging with your followers and engaging with your community.
So I agree, most definitely. You as a business owner, if your business isn't focused on social media, you still can effectively manage your business and your social media accounts to a certain extent on your own. It's all about, and Jesse mentioned the point of working smarter, not harder. And so really, again, going back to a previous conversation about which platforms to be on, not being everywhere, not spreading yourself thin, prioritizing which platforms you are on that make the most difference for your business, and then prioritizing, carving out time. So not that you're on the social media platforms all day, you carve out times during the day, during the week, where you are actively on the platforms so that it's not sucking up your time, and then you get to the rest of your business. So my answer is most definitely yes, you can.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Yes, you can. You need to. Social media is a very important part of your online and business strategy. And it can happen in as little as 1 hour a week when you have the strategy and when you're not trying to be everywhere. And there's different tools that can help you take away the overwhelm. So there's a lot of tools out there that are meant for entrepreneurs. They just don't know about them yet.
So what are some of the tools that Hootsuite was one that was mentioned. What are some other tools that small business owners like yourselves or that are turning to?
So my favorite scheduler, I think that every business should use a scheduler. Facebook does have a free one built in if Facebook is your targeted demographic and you decide to go all in on that. But even with just Facebook, my favorite scheduler is called Loomly, Loomly. Not very many people have heard about it, but I think it's the best kept secret out there. I wish I was an affiliate for them because I tell the people about them all the time, but I'm not. They're just one of the best schedulers out there. They give great analytics. You can tweak and tailor all of your posts for that specific social media platform. They give you hashtag inspirations. You can have hashtag collection libraries. It's a really great tool. And it's one that's, again, takes away a lot of the overwhelm for a lot of my clients. I have a lot of other ones, but I'll let everyone else on the panel chime in too.
I really enjoy Canva, especially when you're first getting started. It's a great little design tool. It has great little presets for you to practice and maybe even start creating your own. They also have a brand kit. So there's certain colors, certain fonts, certain logos you want to use. You can automatically put it into the system and you can have a fast click to be able to change up the graphic and the template to fit your needs. So it's one of my favorite tools, especially starting out.
I agree, Kim. Yeah, Canva's great. Clarine, any tools that you want to throw out here?
Okay, so I say this at a risk, but the tools that I say are the best tools to leverage LinkedIn is right here and right here. Your mindset and your heart. Okay, so I'm not in trouble by saying that. Okay. You're not kicking me.
Can you kick her off right now?
You almost
But
got a spit take on that. Sorry.
But literally, when it comes to LinkedIn, and this is the more riskier part too, and it's not just from me, it's from LinkedIn, the platform. Using automated tools like schedulers and others, you run the risk of your content being buried, where you get no traction for it, or potentially getting your profile shut down because the platform has an aversion to those. So I wanted to make sure I put that out there. Is the real-time personal, because it's a networking platform, and so it's the real-time element and personal aspect of it. But I want to even throw out, because Jesse mentioned Canva, so there's another tool, kind of sort of, that you can use to leverage your brand or build your brand on LinkedIn graphics wise, that I love, kind of like how Katie said for that scheduling tool. It's called Poster My Wall. I love Poster My Wall. I wish, as Katie was saying, that I got some kind of affiliate relationship with them, because I tell everyone about them, my clients and all. Their graphics, they just pop more to me. The variety that they offer with their templates and the color schemes and the designs, and they look more polished, like graphic designer did them, versus just being very generic. And I'm going to say something else while I'm talking about this conversation specifically. And I do use Canva for certain purposes, but on a daily basis, I'm in Poster My Wall for my graphics. Unfortunately, Jesse, I think everyone is using Canva and they don't take the time to personalize the templates and give them their own unique flair to them, right? Where they're not taking the time to do the branding, as you mentioned, Jesse, with the colors or changing the images or something about them. I can scroll on LinkedIn rather, and I'll see a graphic and I'll automatically know it's from Canva, because it's so generic looking. And I'm not trying to slam or, Canva is on the user side where people are not customizing them enough. Especially I see it when there's holidays or observances, and I see the same template that everybody's using. And I'm like, come on, get some variety, some difference with it. So that's my only caution. If you're going to use Canva, that's great, but take time to customize it. Put your own unique spin or, visual effects to it.
Thank you. I just wanted to add something that I tell my clients a lot, and I have to end up telling myself, is if you're in that position where you're not posting because you don't think it's perfect enough and it's keeping you from posting, that's when I think you need to not worry so much about some of those things, because it can always be better. It can always look better. You can always schedule it better. You can always do something better. But if it's keeping you from doing anything at all, then I think sometimes it's okay to lower your expectations a little bit, just so you get something out there. And so we would all agree, I think, that, you know, we want to have our brand colors and we want to be consistent. We want to show our face and we want to follow all these things. But if that somehow is blocking you and keeping you from posting, just show up. That's kind of what I'd like to throw out there. And given our time, I would like to, and then I'll give Patrick a chance if he has something really specific he wants to ask. But I think maybe a good place to close up our conversation is talking about how, and I'm not looking for real detailed information, but be as detailed as you'd like. When you're showing up and you're engaging and you're doing your best and you're doing these things, how do you actually know if it's working for you? Like, what are the kind of statistics you either need to look at, or what's your gut feeling, or how long do you give it? Because I think sometimes people just say, oh, I tried that, it didn't work. And maybe they either didn't do it correctly, or they try it forever and they say, I posted every day for a year on LinkedIn and I've gotten nothing. When do you know when to pull the plug? Maybe that's a harder question than it seems.
Or even just to even further complicate the question, what kind of analytics do you turn to if you use those to get that read on your efforts?
Okay, so could I just start right away since you said it, Lori? If somebody's posting every day for a year on LinkedIn and not getting results, like it's more about not what they're posting, not the frequency of their posts, what they're posting and how they're posting it is more about, you know, for what they're not getting. As far as the analytics or the tools, LinkedIn provides so many analytics right within the platform that you can use on a daily basis to track your success, that are right built in. So if it's a post, you can look and see who's viewed and dig deeper into those who's viewed to see the companies they're coming from, the geographic areas, the titles of the individuals. You can look at your overall profile views to see who's viewing your profile for potential lead generation purposes. You can look at your social selling index. If you don't know what that is, we don't have enough time for me to explain, but you can look at your social selling index to track how you're leveraging the platform effectively. You can look at your analytics. There used to be a section on your profile called dashboard. Now they just call it analytics. You can look at that on a daily basis to get a gauge of how effectively you're using the platform. But there's data that LinkedIn provides throughout that if you just zone into it, it can help to guide you into the right direction.
Thank you.
And to piggyback off of Clarine, I think every single social media platform has a certain area where you can take a look at your insights and your analytics to see what's working for you. Having that relevant content, like Clarine was saying, is important to any of the social media platforms, making sure it's tailored to your audience so that way they will engage in it. Not just, oh, here's a pretty picture of a puppy. Sometimes that does really work, but sometimes it doesn't, because that's not what your audience is looking for when you're selling skincare or anything like that.
Katie?
Yeah, you know, I think that you have to figure out what works best for you and your business. And I think that if you have the time and capabilities to post daily and you're still not seeing results, then I would do a hard look at, okay, well, what kind of posts have you been doing? Are they value driven? Is it just to get something out? And I can be the first to say, I only post on social media like 2 or 3 times a week. I do not post that often because it does not work for my creativity and for my calendar, like for my schedule. I don't have the capabilities of posting that often. There's some people out there that can post multiple times a day, and every single post that they fantastic. And that's just not me. So you have to look at what works for you and your business. And if you are posting a lot and you're not seeing results, go and do a deep dive audit as to, okay, which posts that I've been doing have really performed the best, and just start trying to take a giant step back again and posting less and posting a little bit more value-driven content. And Lori, I'm sure that you're just clapping up right now, but you have to be willing to share your story, what makes you different, what you have to offer somebody. because that's what people will resonate with. So find your story and be willing to share it instead of just producing and end up becoming white noise.
Well put. Well put. Wow, that was great. I'm
That
sure
hour went by like that.
yeah, it really did, and we could do more, but hopefully, I am sure this has been helpful to people. And one of my biggest takeaways was not a specific tip or anything that anyone said, but all three of you are coming from different places. I mean, literally different places and different industries and even different favorite platforms and all of that. But you still had very similar advice, I think, to business owners as far as showing up and providing value and figuring out where your customers are and looking at your analytics and engaging. And so I think that should be encouraging to entrepreneurs. Your head coming from your heart and your head. And I hope that that's encouraging to people to realize that even though sometimes social media might feel like it's a game and you're either in on the inside and you know the game or you're on the outside. And I don't think it's that at all. I think it is this authenticity that you have. And I'm happy to feel like all of you projected that. So I thank you for being here and I appreciate your input. Just a note to anyone that's listening, we will be posting this and we will have contact information for all our panelists there. I will also post some of the tools that they mentioned. And Patrick, you can give your final closing comments, and then I think it'd be great if the three of you each could tell people where we can follow you.
All I want to say is thank you so much to our panelists and to Lori as well for being here today and sharing some of yourselves personally as well as professionally. I actually feel like I got to know you a little better over the course of the last hour, and first impressions are always lasting impressions. So let's leave it at that. I also wanted to mention that we are going to be meeting again in March, essentially for a part 2 of this discussion. And we're going to be talking about the social responsibility that comes with using social media as a business person, and what does that mean, and what are some of the facets of that? So stay tuned for that. And that's all I had.
Okay, so the three of you, let's see, we'll go alphabetically. So Clarine, tell us where people can follow you.
Thank you so much again, Patrick and Lori, for having me a part of this conversation. And it's been a pleasure, Katie and Jesse. So to follow me, guess where? LinkedIn. So you can either follow me or send me a connection invite. And if you do send me a connection invite, put in a personal note that you were a part of this or you watched this, just to let me know what trail put you to my profile. But you can follow me, connect with me on LinkedIn. You can follow TCM Comms on Instagram and on Twitter. I blanked out for a minute. And my Facebook company page, even though I've said everything I said about Facebook, but my Facebook company page is TCM Communications. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clarine. JK, Jesse.
Thank you again for having me on here. I actually learned a few things from Clarine and Katie. It's always great to meet with other creatives because you can see different perspectives from everybody, and it's really nice to have that. For connecting with me, of course, with Bright Star Care of Denver, we're on Facebook, so Instagram and LinkedIn. But if you want to follow me specifically, LinkedIn would probably be the best. Just send me a friend request or a quick follow, and we can go from there.
That sounds great. Thank you, Jesse. And Katie.
Well, I'm on social media, so you can connect with me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me at Katie Brinkley. On Instagram, I am Katie Brinkley. And I also have a podcast. Would love for you guys to check it out. It's called Rocky Mountain Marketing, and new episodes come out every Tuesday.
Awesome. Awesome.
Can I say like one thing real quickly? Because just very quick. I want to make sure I take advantage of the opportunities because there was a mention before with Katie about the audio events and her expertise there. Like, I want to make sure as many people know that LinkedIn has stepped into the audio world now. So early January, LinkedIn launched LinkedIn audio events, and it's still in beta phase for people to host. So I'm one of the beta testers, but anyone on LinkedIn can attend the events. But so much is happening on LinkedIn now. They will be introducing an interface event like similar to this, similar to Zoom soon as well. So I wanted to make sure people knew audio events. I'm so excited about the audio.
I did not
events.
know that. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Okay.
Another thing not
give
to
a
sleep
plug.
on is social audio. Just saying that. There's a reason all these platforms have pushed it out there. So
I think that might need to be another episode, another conversation, because is it relevant? Yes, I think it's relevant.
Yeah, I agree. I was at Clarine's inaugural audio event, and it was awesome. And I think the combination of that particular kind of platform, or I guess that's not really an accurate word in this case.
Feature.
That feature, yeah, thank you. Thank you for wording me. That feature on that platform, that unique combination, I think has some interesting chemistry that is going to be pretty cool. Lori, where do we find you?
Oh, you find me on LinkedIn under my name and also Marketing Troubadour. I am on Instagram under Marketing Troubadour. I also am on Facebook, and I have a Facebook group, which we're using. One thing we didn't really talk about on here is at least some of because we did talk a little bit about Facebook and people leaving Facebook, but I think sometimes some of these platforms can be used as production tools like we're doing right now, like pushing this live to Facebook so that then we can have it recorded and share it other places. And I'm not saying that's the most efficient way to do it, but it can happen. So I've got a Facebook group called the Troubadour Collective, and that can be found on Facebook. So one thing I just want to close with this, thank you all again. And I think when we see, like with the audio and stuff, whenever there's a feature and then another platform introduces it, and then another platform uses it, and then another platform uses it, and it's like, why do all these guys keep copying each other? Well, it's because someone introduced and tested something that works, right? So I think that we, instead of thinking like, oh man, they're all just like each other, the platforms are all still different, and there's reasons why these things are out there. So thank you all for being here.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye.